How do fellas? Nice back here again with another inbox review, and today we're going to be looking at Eduard's limited edition Tora. So this boxing, as it says, it's a limited edition. It's a dual combo, so it has two aircraft in. All the markings depict aircraft from Pearl Harbor attack, and I think there's something like 9 different markings, 4 on that side. 12 different markings, so quite a lot more than what I thought. It's got some photo etch, it's got some masking for that canopy, as you can see, which it will need on the top, and it's got an innovative bit in there to be able to build up this cowling, which we'll have a look at in a minute. So what I'll do, I'll put it on the overhead and we'll get cracking. So as always, we'll start with the instruction manual, and it's quite a thick booklet, really nice glossy paper, with a really nice box art on there. We open it up and we start off with a little bit about the history of the Pearl Harbor attack, about what led up to the attack, the planning, the different pilots and the strike force when it was setting sail, all the way through to the different zeros at Pearl Harbor, and eventually a conclusion. So that's a nice little bit in there to read up about the attack. We're then to move on to the actual parts themselves. As you can see, we start off with a sprue map, okay, and you will get 2 lots of each of these sprues, okay. We'll only be looking at 1 each, and same with the photo etch and the mast sets. And then we've got the colour call-outs in aqueous, Mr. Colour, and Mission Module paints, and then the actual colour, the call down the side. Moving straight on into the cockpit, okay, normal fare for Eduard kits, okay, where you need to remove parts for photo etch and stuff like that, and where to stick it on. It tells you in red to remove it. It points out the different colours, and if you notice up there, we've got 1, okay, so if we move across there, we've got the colour call out to that, so it's 50 of C55 and 50% of C530. All right, as we're going through, parts attached to the side of the cockpit wall as we're going through, the throttle quadrants, the other dials, and it's really accurate at where all these parts go, so you can actually see where they go. Move on then to the rudder pedals. So you've either got the one that's plastic or the one that's got photo etch. It's your choice, whichever you want to use. And then we move on to the seat with the seat belts, attaching that to the rear bulkheads. We other bits and parts on there. The cockpit floor, the different parts that go to the cockpit floor. So that looks like it's the sort of like probably the wheel bay roof, that side. Flip it over and then you'll see down in this bottom corner where it's the actual cockpit floor with the control stick and the rudder pedals attaching to it. We then move on to attaching the seat and the sidewalls onto the main cockpit floor. And then we've got some side panels, some instrument panel to go on there, and how it all goes together, whether it's photo etch or there is a decal option as well. Mounting the fuselage guns, which I think, I'm not certain, but I believe the Zero only had nose mounted fuselage guns. So compared to some of the modern aircraft of the time, it was fairly underarmed. We then move on to joining the fuselage together. We have, I don't know whether that's going to be the tail hook up at the top there that goes into there. It looks like it from underneath. So the fuselage half goes together, and then the the cockpit actually drops in to there. We then move on to the lower wings. So by the looks of it, it's going to be some parts for potentially dropping in for the some, maybe, let's have a look, see if we can see. Yes, potentially there might be some more weapons going in there. So it might be 4 weapons, I'm not 100% certain with this. So you might have that they are gun bays. Then we've got the rear bulkhead of the wheel bays, the front bulkheads and the side bulkheads going in. Then we sandwich the wings together like so. We have probably a hydraulic fluid or oil canister, something like that. And then it shows you how the wings actually attach onto each other. So from the lower to the upper. Move on to tail plates with separate control surfaces, so you could potentially mount those posable. Same as on the wings beforehand. Then we've got the counterweights going on to the controls. Engine, a full detailed engine. Looks quite nice. There doesn't look like there are any ignition wires going around there. Now, whether this aircraft doesn't have them or Eduard have just decided not to depict it, I don't know. The engine then get attached to the fuselage, and then this is the bit I was talking about. So as you can see, we've got this light blue, what looks like a cone, and this is how you build up this cowling. Okay, so you have this in the center, you put the parts on it so it all rests on it in the correct place, the correct orientation, before you then add glue just to the parts where you need it. So we're going from the cowling ring, the cowling sidewalls and flaps, the upper part, sorry, no, that's the lower part, and then we've got the upper part for where the cannons sit, before you then move on to putting some more little flaps on there. So it's a really good way of doing that. So it makes sure that when you make this part, it all aligns really nicely, and then that just slides onto the fuselage. We then got the wheels and undercarriage legs all going on. So main undercarriage, tail wheel, hook, whether you can have it up or down. And then it shows you what the stance is like, so how the wheels should align. All the different doors, the fuel tank, moving on to the propeller. Before then, we look at the gun sight and the canopy, whether you want it open or closed. And then we've got all the masking sets there. Okay, so that is for, like I said, for 2 aircraft. So then we move on to the colour callouts. I'm not going to read out these names because I don't want to butcher them. But as you can see, we've got A, B, C, D, E, F, G and H, I, J, K and L, and then the stenciled data. Remembering when we build this particular kit and this particular paint schemes, that these aircraft, I won't say they'd be brand new, but they won't have seen much action and stuff like that, so they would be fairly clean. There won't be loads of chipping anywhere. All the rising sun marks will all be nicely painted. There might be some fading on the top, but nothing too much, because again, very beginning of their attack on Pearl Harbor, these aircraft would have been looked after really well. So that's the instruction manual. We'll get to the decals and all the other bits and pieces next. So you get two bags plus 2 bags for the canopies, and it's normal Eduard fare where it's the double sticky. So we'll take these out, okay, to have a look. And as you can see, I'll just put that one over there, we have 2 of each. Okay, so we'll just take 1 of each for now. Just put them over there. And as you can see, normal Eduard plastic, normal Eduard grey plastic. But if we have a look at all that fine, lovely, detailed rivets all over it. So fuselage half, tail planes, a part of the cowling, the raised part for the rudder, cowling parts, and the other tail. And then we've even got the fine detail on this cowling ring, and that's the part there that we can then use to mount the cowling onto. So really well done. And then on the inside, also not a great deal of detail because we're going to add all this detail with the cockpit. Okay, so you can see there's some nice raised detail there. No injection pin marks where we're going to see them. All really nicely done. The next one, we have lower and upper wings, and again, just going all the way over. Look at that, isn't that lovely? So that's a low wing, and then we've got the upper wing. So this in that Japanese eggshell green type colour with a wash, we'll pick these out beautifully. Then again, you can see those covers and the control surfaces all nicely ribbed with individual rivets, raised rivets on there. Absolutely beautiful. So the next one, again, there are 2 of each sprue in this kit. I'll put that one over there, that one there, this one over there, and this one over here. So this one is the main cockpit area, the engine, and stuff like that. So we'll start off in one corner, and again, you can see all the lovely control details. You don't actually need photo etch if you didn't want to use it. Looking at the end of the machine guns, again, you can see they are hollowed out. Some lovely detail actually on the guns themselves. Moving to the instrument panel and all the associated small parts. So you can see some absolutely exquisite detail on it. Look at that bulkhead. Look at that rear bulkhead. That is amazing. So yeah, some raised and recessed rivets on there. There's the seat correctly drilled out to make it lighter, and you can see, hopefully, can you just see that? There are some rivets in there as well. The engine, normal affair, as with most Eduard engines. The cockpit floor, again, some really nice raised rivet detail. The ignition ring, absolutely beautifully moulded. All stunning work. Next up, we have the fuel tanks, a bomb, the propeller, and the wheels. And again, look at that lovely rivet detail on the actual undercarriage doors. And that one there. Okay, the only problem with this kit I can see potentially is obviously we have a fuel tank here. Okay, now this has got raised rivets and it's got raised panel lines, which the real tank had, but trying to put that back after you've sanded it all, that might be the only sticky wicket really. Again, some lovely detail on the legs and on the hubcaps. So the wheels are all solid wheels with separate hubcaps. Oh, there are the other ones, look down there. Moving on to the canopy, so we've got two of these again, and again some lovely detail. So I don't know if you'll be able to make it out, but even it's got all the rivet detail on the actual canopy. So make sure, guys, that you weather the canopy exactly the same as you were going to be weathering the actual aircraft, so you can see all the rivet details and all that sort of good stuff. Moving on to the photo etch. So again, you get two lots of photo etch. I'm not going to get these out. This is normal Eduard photo etch. So you can't see you having any major issues with this. Again, like I said, we get a mask sheet for the canopy, which with that one, you're probably going to need it. And then we move on to the decals. So let's open these up. So that's quite interesting. The actual cover on the decals. So you can see it's like a tissue paper. And we'll have a look at these decals. Okay. So these are the new style Eduard decals. I believe the later versions of these decals are a lot better than the earlier versions. So the ones that were from early last year were apparently atrocious. These ones are a lot better. They feel really thin, and the carrier film is meant to come off a lot easier. But I will leave that to you guys to make up your own mind with these. I mean, they look perfectly fine to me, but even though I've got quite a few of Eduard's kits, I haven't used these new type decals as yet. Because the Eduard kits I have built, I still have the older ones, and I generally paint my markings now. Okay, but they look really nice. So guys, that's Eduard's Tora, the Zero. Oops. What can I say? It's Eduard. It's absolutely beautifully made. There's lots of really intricate, lovely detail on there. I can't wait to actually get when they fetch the older ones out, because the older ones, you know, they had bare metal finishes. They had, you know, loads of chip, loads of weathering, and the detail on this will sing through. It will absolutely spectacular with those with those worn markings. Okay, so that's it from me. I shall see you on the next one. So bye for now.